everyone, and thanks for joining us for our latest edition of our New World of Work series. My name is Crystal Fearens-Lee. I'm the Chief People Experience Officer at ProxyClick, and today I'm welcoming Marjolein van Eyck, our CHRO of IBM Benelux. Welcome, Marjolein.
Thank you. How are you?
I'm good. Considering. Let's start off by having you tell everyone a little bit about you and your role at IBM.
Yeah, sure. So as you already introduced me, I'm the CHRO for IBM in the Benelux, so Belgium, Luxembourg, and the Netherlands. But I know that title doesn't say much about what you actually do on a day-to-day basis, right? So an HR leader at one company can do completely different things than an HR leader in another company. So for me, it's both the being in charge of the core HR processes, obviously in those three countries, but on top of it, we're obviously in the midst of a massive transformation. So I own the people strategy, and I'm basically the leader of that full transformation, if you will.
Okay, great. So my first question for you, it's a provocative one. What's a commonly held belief in HR that you would passionately disagree with, especially considering this new world of work?
Well, I'm passionate about a lot of topics in HR, to be honest, but I think, and perhaps it's not a disbelief in the HR domain or the HR function per se, it's more on the business side. What you sometimes hear and you see some articles about, the future of HR, and is that really a function that would live, the next 10 years, or is it going to be fully automized? There's debate on whether you need the function. But I think last year we have proven that we are here and we are here to stay, right? None other year, HR had to be at the forefront. We were driving through the pandemic. We were looking into employee well-being, employee engagement, keeping productivity up. So I've been, very busy last year, even though, and also this year, I can imagine. So I think we've proven that HR is a very vital function and here to stay, for sure.
Absolutely. Now, thinking about the HR tech space, what should everyone there stop doing as we think about building the future of workplace and workforce together?
Yeah, I think what I experienced a lot, and I have a technical background, so I have a tendency to also dive into HR tech as well. What I see a lot is in this world of rapid transformation towards a digital world and automation of all the HR processes, that we seem to sometimes squeeze the existing HR processes into the new world, where actually I think you need to start rethinking from the end user experience in mind. And that's a trick that is commonly known in the tech space, but perhaps not embraced and adopted in the HR tech space as much.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. And then along those same lines, what should everyone in the HR tech space start doing?
Well, for me, it's almost the opposite of what I just explained, right? So really thinking from the outcome we're trying to drive, what is that employee experience? But at the same time, and I mean, I'm not just saying what we should stop, but how can we actually transform? It's also about rethinking how we work. So technology to me is supporting the existing way of working. But think about design thinking, think about agile, Scrum, right? That is different approaches and techniques. Rather than just trying to squeeze everything into a digital world. We love our tools, right? There's a new tool popping up every day, but you really need to start thinking more from the holistic view. What is it that you're trying to drive? And then towards that also implement different way of working, but also different leadership styles, I would say, to support that.
I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about how IBM had the impact of remote that's had in the last, well, let's say year, given everything going on in terms of maybe office design or workplace experience.
Well, IBM, obviously, we're in the IT industry, right? So we have our act together when it comes to the digital world. I'm often asked this question: how did IBM move from, being in the office to a fully virtual environment? Well, the reality is we were already in that world. So even though we were not all working from home, lots and lots of people, even in the office space, you were working in a virtual environment. We have international colleagues, so we're very used to this way of working. It was very easy for us to move everybody home. It was literally an hour and everybody was there. The challenge for us is more bringing people back and managing that through a hybrid model. We all talk about not everybody will be working from home, not everybody will be working in the office. I think that's a given. I think we have that common future vision. That hybrid model is going to be our challenge also for IBM. And for some companies in the past that moved into a world where we would allow, people to work from home for one day, I think the number one comment everybody has heard of a manager of a team, it's so challenging to bring my team together because almost every day there's somebody not in the office. Guess what? That will be the new world. So we've been redesigning and rethinking our office space more from that perspective. So imagine large scale meeting rooms with big screens. So it's okay if somebody's at home, we just bring them in virtually. We can co-create in the same session in a virtual environment. So that is, I think, for us more the emphasis to support that hybrid model. So it doesn't matter where somebody is or if that person is registered as not being in the office. It doesn't matter because we're now very used, and this was a great training for us. We're now used to that virtual world.
Yeah. Absolutely. Great. Last question for you. What do you think the criteria will be for future successful HR leaders? And how do you see that space changing as we move further ahead?
Well, I think what I just said is supporting that, right? So last year, HR has been in the forefront. I think I have a hotline with all my business leaders. HR really need to be front and center. We should not be the back office. We should be not supporting. We should be driving, but also the business needs to own the HR agenda. And that's also, another point of misunderstanding sometimes, that HR owns everything people. No, not at all. We need to get that in the minds of all our business leaders, is that they are responsible for their people. We're here to help, advise, signal. And I think that's a skill set that not just HR leaders need to have, but I tell my team almost on a weekly basis, make sure you understand the employee experience, the business needs, that business outcome. So any HR professional need to have that skill of the future. And I think also what I've experienced from being in HR for quite some time is that the profession has changed. And I think we're one of those professions that has changed more frequently sometimes than some of the technical professions. So I think the number one skill set that any HR professional need to have is not being resistant to change. You need to be very resilient and very agile because the profession will again look very different 10 years from now. So that's a core skill set. And then the rest we can teach. But being with the business and being receptive to change is probably the key ones for me.
Absolutely. It's so interesting to listen to you talk about it from the scale of a large enterprise and having that really resonate for me in a much smaller company. So I guess the themes are universal indeed. Yeah. Thanks so much, Marilyn, for joining us. And all the best in the year ahead.
Thank you.